When it comes to people getting sacked, though, Henry, Chatty Batty, is it coming? Just like the great Boys to Men once said, is it come to the end of the road for Big Ange and Tottenham after what was another shattering defeat, another comeback for an opponent, 19 defeats in the last 40 Premier League games, a team where many Spurs fans thought 10 games into last season you could go on to win the league or at least become a Champions League outfit again. And now it feels like you're kind of firmly cemented this season into sort of mid-table. Talk to me, gents. Talk to me.
Go on, Pat, you go first because I'm just human.
I was waiting for you to go. I can't lie. I was waiting for you to go. But you know what? The context behind it is, as you lot all know on here, all the football fan, purists, TFT purists that have been here from day one. I never wanted Ange. He wasn't my guy from the beginning. 6th of the 6th, 2023. I remember clearly the day he got appointed. I put the tweet out and I'll read it verbatim so that no one misquotes me. I said, so disappointing, so underwhelming, so uninspiring, so Brentford, Crystal Palace or Fulham FC. And before you tell me to back the manager, that goes without saying. I always want what's best for my club. Hence why I'm so disappointed with the C-class gaffer. And I got slated by Spurs fans. I do a lot of podcasts. I'm on the Football Terrace. I'm on Last Word on Spurs and a lot of other shows. And they was like, oh, how can you say this? How can you be so negative? Yada, yada, yada. And I was like, listen, I'm just going off of what I've seen. Looking into him, I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League. Yes, he's won leagues in the leagues that he's been in, but with all due respect, he's pretty much had the best team in that league. And the way he sets up, when I've seen him against the bigger and better clubs in the Champions League, the guy's so open, so gung-ho, and it's always come back to bite him. Lo and behold, he gets appointed and he has a good start. A lot of Spurs fans went crazy and was like, yeah, we're going to win the league with this, with that. I was like, okay, let's just see how it pans out. And, if you put it into context, he had a decent first season. To implement a new style of play, to bring in all the players that he brought in, to completely change the way Spurs are set up, you can say that's admirable. And, he had a decent, we should have really finished in the top 4 considering the points that we threw away. But you give him that, finish 5th, and you crack on. This year, it's a shambles, and the stats are shambolic. Whatever way you want to look at it and dress it up, he's been piss poor. This year, we played 15 games. Won 6, drawn 2, lost 7. So that's a 40% win rate. At the moment, obviously, we're 11th, we're on 20 points. If you break it down, that's 1.33 points a game. If you times that by 38 games, which is obviously in a season, that takes you to about 50 points. I looked at this properly like today. I've really done my research on this. If you look at the last 3 years, 50 points takes you to 10th, 11th and 11th. So we're essentially a mid-table team now. We're playing like mid-tablers, and if you look at just how we've played and how we set up, it's awful. Like Terry said, 19 losses in our last 43 Premier League games, 9 losses in our last 13 away games. It's just, whatever way you look at it, whatever way you want to dress it up, it's piss poor. But the only reason why I'm not Ange out is because I just don't see the point of sacking him right now. I feel you've got to see this project out. When he was appointed, I said I would back him and I'd stick with him. And to be fair, I just don't see, Daniel Levy's position is untenable. No matter what happens next, unless Ange turns it around and we win something, Levy's done. Levy knows this was his last roll of the dice. You went for, pragmatic managers, the win now managers, it didn't work. You've then gone the complete other way and gone for an attacking manager that literally abandons every other principle and philosophy to attack. And it's not working. We were 2-0 up yesterday. Against, we were 2-0 up. If you look at it and take away everything that's going on, I know they say form goes out the window in a London derby, but Chelsea came into that game in good form. We were obviously on the ropes. We were rocky. We were 2-0 up in the first 15 minutes. No matter your principles, no matter your philosophies, all you have to do for the next 10 minutes is sit back and absorb, obviously, the pressure. They're 2-0 down. They have to attack. They have to try and get back into the game. And then you can essentially just pick them off on the counter. But all we did is completely just go against everything that any decent and smart manager would do. And we just threw all of our players up. We've got Sonny and Udogie inverted. They're literally sitting on each other's arse. The midfield was completely, it was crazy. Every time Sancho and Cole Palmer got the ball, it was literally 1v1 or 1v2. You've got you know, I'd say Cole Palmer's a world-class player right now. Jadon Sancho is a good player, obviously trying to find his way back. You got two very good players running at you time and time and time again. Sooner or later, they're gonna find, you know, they're gonna pick that pass or find that bottom corner, and lo and behold, both of them did. And it's just like, as a manager, how can you not manage a game? Part of your ethos, part of why you're brought in is to manage games tactically, you know, react to what's going on. Enzo Maresca could see things weren't working, and at halftime he made changes. This motherfucker never makes changes. He never adapts to what's going on. And obviously, this is why we lose games where we should see them out. Brighton, we were 2-0 up. We ended up losing that game. Yesterday, we were 2-0 up. We ended up losing the game. It's just, it's embarrassing, man. And I said it from day one. So for me, I'm not surprised. But obviously, it's frustrating. And you expect after finishing 5th last year to push on. This team is now molded in his image. You've got all the players in that he's co-signed, he's bought, he's got rid of the players he didn't want, yada, yada, yada. And when you look at it, there's only 3 teams in the Premier League that have lost more games than us right now. I'll repeat that. There's only 3 teams in the Premier League that have lost more games than us right now. That's Southampton with 12 losses, Wolves with 9, Ipswich with 8. We're sitting on 7 losses. We're only in early December. It's mental. So there's no way you can really dress this up. But for me, the only reason why I'm not screaming Ange out right now is because I just don't understand or see the point of it. I feel we've got to see it through. Unless like we're sitting like 18th or 19th, we just got to see out the season and see what happens. Somehow he may luck a cup. Somehow we may have a decent run in the Europa League and win something. But as it stands right now, you know, like nothing really is positive at the moment.
Listen, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. I understand the frustration. There's no doubt about that. Henry, how do you see it? I mean, you look at yesterday's game, and yes, we could sit there and break the game down, which we did on the match reaction show. We can, but I think that's been done before. You know, the lack of midfield, bringing back centre-backs that may or may not be fit for the game, going 2-0 up. But listen, you pressed well, got a little bit of luck with the mistakes from Chelsea and the slips from Cucurella. But to not be able to see that out at home, it is. I'm not saying getting rid of Big Ange fixes Tottenham altogether and you become a world-class team. But is he still a big problem in terms of winning the actual football matches with the squad that he's got?
Yeah, I would argue so. Any other manager in the Premier League at 2-0 up at home against the top scoring team in the league that are in that good form, any fucking manager would go to a pragmatic approach. What does he do? He crosses his arms and just do we are, mate. There was so much space in and around that defence yesterday, you could have built a house. Our fullbacks aren't fullbacks. They're midfielders. And if you want to know what the most Spursiest moment of the season is, we bring both our centre-backs back and they both get injured again. And they're now both out for the Southampton and Rangers game, which means we go into the Rangers game with a centre-back pairing of Archie Gray and Radu Dragusin because Ben Davies is injured. Now, if a new manager comes in, are the results going to improve? Maybe. But the long-term problem is that a manager only lasts 18 months throughout Levy's entire tenure because they never, ever, ever get proper resources. Look at Chelsea, right? Everyone was calling them billion-pound bottle jobs. No one's saying shit now. I've not heard anyone talk about the money. Enzo Maresca has managed 78 games in his career, but he's got play styles. He's got different formations. The way that he grilled Madueke the other day, he did it at the perfect time because they were on a high. We've seen other managers rip them, drag them through the mud, just like Ten Hag did with Sancho. He has got them firing on all cylinders. Yes, you can talk about how great their squad is. But if that's Brentford, if that's Fulham, if that's Bournemouth, and you're 2-0 up, you protect the lead. I wouldn't trust Ange Postecoglou walking my fucking dog, let alone bloody holding on to a lead against Chelsea. He is a disgrace. Look at the results. Like Pat said, we've lost 7 games. I called this out against Arsenal, and everyone was laughing at me saying, you're not a Tottenham fan, Henry talks Arsenal, but no one's laughing now, are they? Nigel Farage said it. No one is laughing now. We are shambolic.
Big up Farage. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
Right now, we've got Liverpool, we've got Man United, we've got Forest away. We carry on. I'm not exaggerating. We will not beat Southampton. There's no confidence in this team. 1 minute Kulu starts in the 10, 1 minute is Maddison. I get rotations important, but I Paul Merson coming out.
You'll beat Southampton, H. They literally gift goals, bro, and you press well.
Yes. So do we, mate. So do we.
Yeah, no,
Fuck,
it's true.
we're
It's true. It'd be
we're
funny,
2-0
but
up.
come on.
We're
You have to
2-0
be
up and we can
Oh,
see
they lost
4.
to Ipswich, bro. Come on.
Bro, we're Robin Hood, mate, at the Premier League. We give them to the poor, obviously not Chelsea, but Palace and Ipswich, and then we somehow beat City and United. How does the
Hang
same
on.
goddamn
Listen,
team...
I will say this, and I'm enjoying your rant, but you've got to stop putting United in that when you played us and beat us, we were dog breath, bruv. Like we were dog breath. We're not a big team on that day. We were awful on that day.
Yeah, but to us,
and in fairness, when you beat Villa, they were in the middle of their run of 8 games, no win. And when you beat when you beat City, they're in the worst run of their club. They're still in the worst run their club has had in 30 years. So even the big teams you've beaten, contextually, when you look at it, they were all in absolute shit moments. Like I'm telling you now.
I give him something, Terry.
Look at our away form this season.
Just hold on to something at least. The poor boy is very broken.
Look at our away form. Look at Arsenal, right? The Arsenal turn up with one of the worst performances and still got 3 points against us, right? We couldn't beat Leicester at the King Power the first game of the season. We should have been 4-0 in 20 minutes. Roma, Kone completely controlled that game against us, and we were lucky. Osimhen had 8 shots. Osimhen had more shots than we did. Like this isn't the last month. I said this. When was the Arsenal game? That was what, early September. I said it is going to go down, and he will get sacked before Christmas. I can show you the clip. He will not be here come Christmas because none of the players are playing for him. Their tactics are absolutely abysmal. Right? Take nothing away from Chelsea because the 4-3 is a very flattering scoreline because Palmer had 3 times in the box, the ball just didn't fall to him. If that falls right to him, it's in the back of the net. The composure from that set, well, I'll get into him in a minute. Son, through on goal, right? Just puts it wild. We know that's what Son's so great at, but there's nothing going right for us. We've got no Vicario until February. We rushed Van der Ven and Romero back. They're both now made of glass. Right? And apparently one of the players today said that he will resign if Ange Postecoglou gets sacked. Well, that's Cutie Romero because we all saw his tweet last night. We'll see you later then. You can fuck off as well. Right? See you later. Right?
What? Sorry, what did he say? What did he say? Who said what?
So Spurs Express is I don't know if you follow them.
They're I know what they are. Yeah.
And Cutie Romero retweeted something last night, which was then deleted 25 minutes later, that essentially said, if it was basically a quote from him 3 months ago saying that Ange Postecoglou needs to be backed and there will be uproar if he is sacked. He retweeted it 25 minutes later. He deleted it. Pedro Porro's deleted his Twitter. This fucking fraud, mate. Pedro Porro retweeted a stats page from Squawk or whatever they're called, saying he's had the most goal contributions since February 2023. Read the fucking room, mate. We've just been battered at home and you're talking about your own individual stats. Read the room. And now because he's got a pile-on from our fan base, he's deleted. I don't think the pile-on is justified, but read the room. And now he's deleted his socials. Just like when the fans got on Brennan Johnson, he deleted his socials. You've got to understand, fans are paying thousands and thousands of pounds. They travel down to Bournemouth. There's no direct train back to London. And you serve up that absolute bunch of turd. That performance against Bournemouth was absolutely embarrassing. It was a training session for Semenyo, for Cliver, for Evan Nilsson in the final third. And you watch. He'll probably get sacked before Christmas. We'll bring in probably Silva from Fulham or Thomas Frank. There'll be a bit of a new manager bounce. We might even beat Man United in the Cup. Come to the January window when we all know we need major bloody heart surgery. We'll end up going, nah, there's a new rib cage. We never do what's required. We open up a catalogue and the first thing we see, we buy. £150 million on Brennan Johnson, Richarlison. You know, Solanke, we barely create any chances for him. He's the only one yesterday that can come off with his head held high. The hold-up play. Mate, it's ridiculous.